But we are also watching the fallout after 32 states just ended the extra emergency pandemic food benefits that so many families rely on, known as SNAP. The average SNAP household will now get $95 less in food stamps each month, and food banks are already seeing an impact from families who don't have anywhere else to turn. Joining me now from a food bank in Louisville, Kentucky, is NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra. Marissa, Kentucky just ended the benefits last year, so if they're the example, what could these other states soon see in terms of need?
Yeah, so just to give you a little bit of context here, so SNAP benefits, this is an emergency allotment that we're talking about. This is something that went into effect at the start of the pandemic to help families who were in crisis during the pandemic. And so we had about 32 states just in the last 2 weeks, or in the last week rather, who rolled back that emergency allotment. And that's the reason why this is so timely. But the reason we're in Kentucky here is this is one of the states that had actually rolled this back last year. And so there has been a chance for everyone in the state and across the country to sort of see the impact and see whether the need of people who were showing up to food banks and pantries like the one that we're at right now, whether that grew or decreased. So again, for some perspective, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which oversees SNAP, has always stressed that this is always meant to be a temporary measure. But food security advocates were arguing that inflation is much higher than it was at the start of the pandemic, certainly much higher than it was this time last year. The Urban Institute for Poverty says that overall this program kept 4.2 million people from falling below the poverty line. It lowered overall poverty by 10%. And then to give a little bit of perspective, cities like Atlanta, and Atlanta is in a state that also rolled this back last year, reported a 40% increase in demand over the past year. Georgia's emergency allotments ended in 2022, just like Kentucky's. We want to give you a chance to listen to one of the organizers for this food pantry. She says that she has seen the need increase over the last year. Take a listen.
So March of last year, we were serving about 1,500 people. By June, that number was 2,000. By August of last year, we were serving over 2,300. We continue to serve over 2,000 a month ever since. So last year, we served 17,000 people. This year, we're on target to serve over 24,000 people a year.
So, Lindsay, some interesting perspective. Again, we're in a state that rolled it back last year. I was in Maryland just the last week, and we spoke to Maryland food banks and pantries, which said they themselves, among these other 30-something states, are also preparing to see an influx of people in need, like the people you see behind me. Lindsay?
Certainly, between that and inflation. All right, Marissa Parra, thank you. Next.